Hello, I'm talking today about Eardwulf, a strong-willed king of Northumbria. During the time of Eardwulf, the once mighty kingdom of Northumbria was suffering a steep decline. In the 40 years since the abdication of King Eadbert in 758, at least 6 rulers were deposed or killed. This was largely owing to factional strife within the royal family, as 3 separate branches pressed their claims for power. At the same time, Northumbria's neighbors, Fortrue to the north, Outclut to the west, and Mercia to the south, were rising in power and pressing for their independence from Northumbria's former dominion. The first we see of Eardwulf is in 790 AD. We don't know his precise connection to the royal family, but he was a nobleman, the eponymous son of another probably murdered Eardwulf. In 790, Eardwulf the Younger somehow proved himself a threat to King Ethelred I, who ordered his assassination at Ripon. According to the chronicles, Eardwulf was actually killed there, but by some miracle, he sprang to life again in an act that surprised the monks. Having survived his rival's intrigues, Eardwulf seems to have gone into exile, quietly biding his time and gathering his strength. Well, in 796, King Ethelred died in the way he had lived, murdered by a rival. The throne was briefly seized by the wild King Osbald, but a lack of overall support sent him fleeing for his life within weeks. Finally, Eardwulf was able to make his claim to the throne, and he was crowned amid much ceremony that summer by Archbishop Eadbald I of York. At first, Eardwulf seemed effective and popular as king, but he had an endless number of enemies, and by 798 he was meeting them in open battle. Near Hwali that year, the upstarts Alaric and Vada made a stand against him, though they were ultimately put to flight. Maintaining his grip on the kingdom, Eardwulf disposed of further rivals more decisively. In 799, the nobleman Mull was assassinated, and in 800 the soon-to-be sainted Alfmund was also killed. King Eardwulf proceeded to rise to every challenge, and he even threatened to make war on Mercia when his enemies took refuge there. But despite all his rigorous efforts, Eardwulf was eventually ousted. In 806, under shadowy circumstances, he was deposed and driven from the kingdom. But he did not accept his defeat. Instead, Eardwulf traveled to Rome, appealing in person to the likes of Emperor Charlemagne and Pope Leo III. With their support, he returned to Northumbria in 808 and reclaimed his throne from the unlucky King Aelfwald II. Eardwulf reigned for at least another year, and although the details of his later life and death are unknown, he obviously managed to establish his line in Northumbria. His son Edred reigned after him for perhaps 40 years, and even his grandson Aethelred reigned, albeit briefly while the kingdom succumbed to Vikings, but that's another story. Eardwulf died around 810, and he was probably buried at Bredon. He may even have been remembered as a saint there. That's the life of King Eardwulf. Thank you so much for watching.